Hi everyone and welcome to this video. Today I want to show you how to use a simple technique called the leading lines to create better footage and have a more aesthetically pleasing shot. So let's jump straight into it and show you how it's done. So first of all, what are the leading lines? They're just a compositional technique where you use the lines in the background to draw attention to your subject. Are creating a visual pathway towards your focal point, which ultimately creates a more aesthetically pleasing shot. But let me show you what I mean by this. Here is a picture of one of my friends that has been framed using the leading lines technique. As you can see, the subject is placed in the middle of the shot, and notice that the bars are going towards him, creating more depth. Not only that, the stairs are good leading lines that help you focus on the bottom end of the picture as well. Ultimately, all these lines are just helping you, the viewer, to concentrate on the focal point, which is my friend Daniel. So now that we've established what leading lines are, we need to find out a way to actually identify them and use them into our backgrounds. And pretty much they're everywhere. They could be things like walls or ceilings, roads, benches, fences, and pretty much whatever contains lines into them. And a good rule here is that they don't particularly have to be straight lines. Let's take this image for example. You can use curved lines or lines with an unregulated shape. In this example here, we use this round wall as leading lines to help draw attention towards me and create a more dynamic shot overall. But the point here is to use them to draw attention to your subject. But the problem with the leading lines is not really how to find them because they're virtually everywhere, is more on how to use them. So the first tip here would be to not stop the leading line at your subject. As you've previously seen in the last example, the lines do not stop at me. They start from outside the frame, go behind my back, and then continue their way outside the frame, and this is really what makes them special and creates a better story in my picture. They are there to help you concentrate your viewer's attention. So as long as the lines are following your subject, you are using this technique correctly. Point number 2 here would be to look for the leading lines before you actually press the shutter button. Composition in general is just about understanding your environment and your subject and place them together to create a compelling story and a beautiful shot. So it's really important to take a moment and look for the leading lines in the background where you can actually place your subject and create a really beautiful image. Because if you take the time, you will actually see the difference and you will see great results with this technique. Point number 3 would be to place yourself slightly to an angle. This doesn't apply every time where leading lines are involved, but it's a good tip to keep in mind every time you are using this technique. And to explain this better, I will show you in a second 2 pictures that are very similar but yet so different. In this one right here, you can see that the subject is sitting next to the wall and I'm shooting directly in front of him. Nothing really bad with this picture, but it looks kind of flat and doesn't really tell me much. But if I position myself slightly off to the side, you can see that I'm creating depth here. The leading lines are much more clear, they help me as a viewer concentrate to the subject and overall create a much more aesthetically pleasing picture, which is what we all want. This technique doesn't apply to only portraits. It could be used with landscapes or architecture and in pretty much every shot that you take. And the beauty about this and other composition techniques is that the possibilities are endless and the guidelines are not set in stone. So you can play around with this technique as much as you want and experiment different angles and shots and let your creative spirit free. This technique is very popular because it's very powerful and it's also used in movies and by professional filmmakers. So next time you're watching a Hollywood movie, keep an eye for those leading lines present in the shot and see how the subject is framed. A very important thing with the leading lines is that they are cost-free, and if you pay attention to them, they can actually make your footage look very beautiful. And to be honest, in photography, there are not really that many things that are cost-free. And guys, this is pretty much all you need to know about the leading lines. Thank you so much for watching this video, and the next thing that's left to do here is for you to go out there and experiment using these lines in your own photography and in your own work. Thank you so much, and see you in the next video.